So this is one issue that we would like to raise again and again to the world, that we cannot go on with the way we have been going with our life globally. Global warming, to me, I'm sure you all agree with me, is basically a lifestyle issue. How we live, how we try to enjoy our life. But that enjoyment of one should not be the cause of harm to others. One simple thing we can always adopt, and we teach our young generation to believe in it and make it their principle. The principle is very simple. We should all pledge that my life, the way I live, should not take away the enjoyment of life of any other human being on this planet. I should not cause any trouble anywhere on this planet just to enjoy my life. If we can adopt that principle, then we will know what kind of enjoyment that I can afford without harming any other person. So I can almost insist, or we can develop a system where whatever we buy, whatever we try to bring to our enjoyment of life, we put a kind of an indicator in the color code. Something put in a green code that is, yes, this, if I consume it, if I enjoy it, this will not harm anybody. If I buy something which has a yellow mark, that means I'm not sure whether it will harm anybody or not. It may or may not. Then I'll be careful even not to buy that product because it may harm anybody. And of course, anything with a red mark, I'll stay away from it because if I take it, that will harm other people. So that way we can create a world which will not become more dangerous each day. And we can ensure that we'll hand over this planet as a safer planet, as a more beautiful planet than we found it. We'll hand it over to our next generation, our children, a safer planet. But today we are doing the reverse. We are handing over a more dangerous planet to our children than we found it. So we added to its dangers. So these are the two basic principles that we have to adopt in our way so that we know that we are not endangering this planet by the way we live. So that's the flood which comes and makes our life very difficult. With the expansion of Grameen Bank, we needed more money to lend it out. Today we lend out over $100 million a month in loans averaging under $200. All this money, which is over $1 billion a year, comes from the system of mobilizing the deposits by our bank branches so that each branch is self-contained. We don't have to look for money from outside. Not only Grameen Bank as a whole doesn't have to look for money from outside, each branch of Grameen Bank doesn't have to look for money from outside, even outside the branch. So they don't have to borrow from another branch. They can mobilize enough money to lend out money to the borrowers of Grameen Bank. We have over 2,600 branches all over the country with nearly 28,000 staff. And from the early on, what we tried to do, not only lend money to the poor women, also we want to make sure that children in these families go to school. So we wanted to make sure the children go to school, because the parents, those who are in the Grameen Bank, the mothers and also the fathers, they're all illiterate, cannot read, cannot write. So we wanted to make sure their children go to school. And we succeeded in that, having all the children in school. And we offered them scholarships for good performance in school. Grameen Bank gives over 40,000 students scholarships every year, so that they are recognized, they are encouraged, they are inspired. Then we see these children are going to higher education. Not only they went to the high school, they are now capable of going to the colleges and universities. So immediately, about 15 years back, we introduced education loans so that they don't have to drop out from higher education because it becomes expensive for their parents. So we said, you don't have to go back to your parents for money. Grameen Bank will give you education loan to continue. Now there are about 41,000 students who are on education loans, going to medical schools, engineering schools, universities. So you have a whole new generation of young people within these poor families. Some of them already completed their PhDs. Some of them are doing their postdoctoral work in the universities around the world. So coming from illiterate, poor families, a new second generation is taking over. And when I meet these young people, talk to them, it's a very exciting kind of conversation that I get. Seeing them, they are no less than any other young people from anywhere in the world. They are as capable, as prepared, as eager as anybody, any young people could be in any society. But they have one common worry. Always they come up with this worry that when we finish our school, would you help us find jobs? Because it's so difficult in Bangladesh to find jobs. And unless you have somebody very powerful behind you to push you, to help you to find a job, you can't find a job because there are few jobs to go about. So I have heard this so many times from these young people. I have to come up with something to make them feel that they don't have to worry about it. So one idea that I had, and I then keep on promoting this idea. Whenever I meet these young people, as the question of jobs come, I immediately tell them that, look, you shouldn't be thinking about jobs because you are children of Grameen families. Children of Grameen families should be thinking differently than children of other families. They wonder why should they think differently than others. I said, you should be, instead of looking for a job, you should be making a pledge, a kind of a promise to yourself. And then you repeat this pledge every day when you wake up. And the pledge would be, I shall never seek job from anybody. I shall create jobs for others. I'm not a job seeker. I'm a job giver. Then they wonder, how do I do that? I don't have a job, and you are asking me to become a job giver. How do I give a job? Then I tell them, look, you are not like other children. You are very privileged children because your mother owns a bank.